you hear that?
Yeah.
Recording in progress is what I heard.
I'm consenting. I just can't consent.
Recording, by the way.
Okay, hey, welcome to the Straight Red Card. Actually, I was going to do that in an English accent today. Welcome to the Straight Red Card, but I didn't do it. I failed.
We just lost how many subscriptions from that?
I know, I totally blew it, dude.
Resubscribe.
I got distracted because I had to press that I consent to having this conversation recorded on my computer when we were about to be recorded. So that's a new feature on Zoom. If others out there haven't experienced yet. But yeah, I was going to come in as welcome to Straight Red Card. This is Nigel Mansell. And no, so I totally screwed that up. Anyhow, welcome everybody to the show. We're going to start out with the Nations League roster as it was announced on Monday. And I was away on holiday, as they say in Great Britain. That's also called a vacation, a 4-day vacation. And I'm back. And so we are doing the show. So the reason we may have not done a show before is I just was on vacation. Anyhow, so Brett, we got the Nations League roster. I'm gonna get my brain right on that here soon.
It's not baseball,
and it wasn't real surprising, except for there were a few things that maybe you and I probably didn't like about it or did like about it. So why don't you start with something that you noticed that maybe you liked or didn't like?
Given the injuries that occurred on our back line, the introduction of Ream and
McKenzie,
thank you. I was spacing his name for the life of me. Are understandable. I quite frankly, when we heard the possible injury to Richards might pull him out of it, I expected Ream might get included.
Yeah, I did too. So as soon as Long went down, Chris Richards went down. Obviously, the next two most sensible people would be Tim Ream and Mark McKenzie, unless you really believe in if you're a big, huge fan of Walker Zimmerman, you know.
Well, I mean, you could make the argument of saying, hey, we don't necessarily need Ream, and we could bring somebody like a Miles Robinson instead. He was included in the 40-man roster, so it's a possibility.
Yeah, I get it. You could bring Miles if Atlanta will let him go. You know, that's always you got to pry players from.
See, that's something fans will never let go.
Yes, exactly. So to me it was sensible. You bring in Ream, who almost probably made the team anyhow.
Sure.
Just based on Gregg's love affair with him, and we love him too. But he's a little past his prime. He has started the last two Fulham games, by the way, because, they've thrown up the white flag, and so they're just giving guys that didn't really get much playing time this year some playing time, and they've had injuries up the butt.
I heard that Ream will be back at Fulham next year.
Yeah, I heard that, but then I also heard that he was, at least his agent at some point in the last month, had actually contacted some MLS teams, so...
Hoping for that big payday?
I know. That's not happening, Tim. Tim will be paid well, but he will not be a DP. Let's just put it that way. He'll be more along the lines of, say, a long salary, an Aaron long salary, than he will a name whatever DP you want in the league. Wait a minute. Long's not a DP for New York, is he? They're not paying him DP money.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but I'd be surprised if they were.
No, they're not. I think they did boost his salary, and they used Cam at one point to do it.
Probably had to with all the interest he was drawing from EPL.
Mm-hmm.
Keep him happy. We'll give him some more money, I guess.
I'll have to look into that closer. But one of the things that I noticed, and so outside of what you just mentioned about the CBs, is we end up with John Brooks, Reggie Cannon, Serginho Dest, Mark McKenzie, Matt Miazga, Tim Ream, Anthony Robinson, who's currently injured for Fulham, so I hope that works itself out, and DeAndre Yedlin, who we thought was more seriously injured, but he's been playing for Galatasaray again. So that's the defenders. I mean, I don't know much more.
There was some
talk about.
Yeah, there was some talk. Some people were out there posting how they thought that Berhalter was only going to bring 3 wingbacks or back options.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they thought that that extra defensive position could be utilized for somebody in the midfield, which you could maybe make an argument for, since we brought both Adams, Acosta, and Yule.
Yeah, but then who's the next guy on the level? You know, I mean, you did bring those.
Oh, I guess I don't recall if Green was not included in the 40-man. Never mind.
No,
nope.
No, he wasn't.
Yep.
And
rolled on. How about that?
No, rolled on. No. You know what? I was perfectly happy, and both of us said this, with Yule being included, just in case Adams has an issue.
Mm-hmm.
But Kellen Acosta, really? You have to bring him.
My thought process on this is that Berhalter's looking at Adams being injured and needs a backup for Yule or a backup for Acosta, depending on who he wants.
Yeah,
and
I know.
There, he's said it was fine with him to not waste a spot. That's a bad way of wording it, but waste a spot on Adams, hoping that he could be healthy come Nations League and or Costa Rica.
His injury's a back injury, so those can be tricky. I mean, I really do. You can't bring Otasoe; he's injured. Cardosa was a flop in the Olympics. You can't bring him. We had talked about De La Torre playing that role. It's not really natural for him, but boy, he looked pretty good last time he played for us, and he got the big shaft on this fucking roster.
Yeah,
I think he was the biggest shafted player outside of Turner and Dike on this roster. I mean, Luca De La Torre should have been on this roster, wasn't, and he's also not on the
Swiss roster.
I mean,
Gold Cup.
Hell, man,
Gold Cup bound.
What did De La Torre do in the intern to lose, interest from Gregg so quickly? Because I just think if you look at how Luca De Torre and what his skills are, I'm bringing him as a possible backup to Yule, and I'm not bringing Kellen Acosta. I'm just not, and it's pissing me off, Brett.
Well, De La Torre can play all across that 3-man midfield. He doesn't necessarily have to play as a number 6. He can play up number 8s and everything, alongside as a replacement for McKinney and Musa. But that was a bit of a shocker, and maybe he just doesn't see him as a number 6 option, where he does see Acosta and he does see Yule. Yeah, so
I'm fine with Yule. You were fine with Yule as a backup too to Adams, but I'm not fine with Acosta. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, again, Yule has 9 caps for the national team. I'm pretty sure he got them all under Berhalter at the very beginning of his tenure.
That's fine.
So he clearly sees Yule as a top option.
I get it. But
so I'm saying that I agree with you, and we both agree with each other that Yule over Acosta anytime.
Kellen Acosta. What? Why?
He's still young. He has room to grow.
You could have McKennie play that role too. He played it at Juventus when he first got there, and I thought he did a decent job playing the hold-up CDM role. And he only played it I think the first 2 games, and then he was off to the wings and off to the CAM spot, off to he would play it all over the front more than he played as the holding midfielder. So I don't know. I just feel like somebody got cheated when Kellen Acosta made this team, and that's all I got to say about that. So, and then I mentioned Turner.
Yeah.
This roster has Horvath, Ochoa, who we expected to be on there, and Zach Steffen, who we expected to be on there. So Horvath, who's played 3 or 4 games in 2 years, and he's on this team. He's also on the Swiss roster, and he'll probably be the starter in that game. But
probably,
yeah. And no Turner. I guess he's just a Gold Cup guy, is what I'm guessing.
Maybe that's what Berhalter's looking at. He's looking at Steffen mainly running the Nations League games, maybe Horvath running Swiss and Costa Rica. Who knows? But one player I think that we haven't talked about yet, maybe just because we haven't gotten up to the forwards yet, but Dike is missing from the Nations League roster.
Yep. And I think it's as simple as, well, what was Berhalter's reason? Berhalter said...
Berhalter said that Dike is going to be traveling with the club and will play against Costa Rica. So I wonder if he's going to basically see, a starting spot against the Swiss, and then starting spot against Costa Rica, and then Sargent and Siabatu will simply fight for that starting spot.
Well, he specifically said in the interview that he had to make a call based on form.
Sure.
And he said that Siabatu and Sargent were in better form than Dike. Now, if you base that on Dike's last 3 games, okay. But it's not that long ago he was scoring goals out the wazoo. And now, just because he had a few bad ones, or not even bad ones, he just didn't score any goals. Now he's out of form, but Siabatu's in form? I mean, yeah, I guess Siabatu did score a goal more recently than Dike did. And Sargent doesn't score any goals. We love him. But I don't know. I thought that was an odd excuse. Why didn't he just say the truth, which is right now, the way we're thinking of things, we think Sargent and Siabatu work better for our current setup, our current crop of players, so we're going to give them a shot this time around. That would have been a much easier answer, don't you think, than saying Dike's out of form compared to Sargent and Siabatu? I mean, that seems like he flipped a coin or threw a dart at a dartboard.
Well, I think similar to how we think, just because Sargent's not scoring goals on a consistent basis doesn't mean that he shouldn't be our number 1 starter. As far as between Dike and Siabatu, again, I don't know enough as a whole, but I mean, I feel like that's sort of like a flip of a coin in that sense. And maybe, they're both in last camp. Yeah. Last European camp. And Siabatu had the start over Dike.
I get it.
So maybe Berhalter just holds him higher at that point. Maybe taking the Swiss League and saying that's a higher level than Championship. I don't know.
I think it also comes down to the type of players they are.
Sure.
So Josh Sargent and Jordan Siabatu are much more technical players, and they're better passers. And not that DK's a bad passer; he's a really good passer,
especially in the air
with his with his head. He's a really good passer off the head. He's just a different player than Sargent and Siabatu are. Siabatu and Sargent can do lots of freaky things with the ball. They can make some really odd movements with the ball. They're good with their feet. Not that Dike isn't. He's impressed me. I didn't think he was this good with his feet. He's a lot better now with his feet than I thought. But yeah, those two players kind of fit more into Gregg's mold. Although if you're using Gyasi Zardes as that basis, I guess it's kind of questionable, but because he loved him some Gyasi Zardes. Although, to be fair to Gyasi Zardes, he was way better at holding up the ball than people give him credit for. He's just not really good on a fast break if he has to make a pass on a counter, because he can't pass on the move very well, or he can't really dribble really well either. He's always kind of dribbling himself out offline. But anyhow, so I think that's what that really comes down to. I don't think it's about form. I think that Sargent and Siabatu both meet Gregg's requirements better. Mm-hmm. Anything else on this one?
No.
We talked about the people who got the shaft. We talked about all the lineups, although we didn't fully announce who made the team, but we'll just put that up on the screen. We all knew Brendan Aronson was going to make the team. Obviously, he was moved from midfield to forward from the original 40.
So was Reyna.
Yeah, exactly, which makes a whole lot more sense.
That 40-man roster was messed up.
Yeah, and Timothy Weah he's on the team, but I don't know how much playing time he's going to get. He hasn't been seeing a lot of playing time with Lille, but maybe he will get.
He's going to be in all 4 games. I guarantee you he'll see playing time. I mean, Pulisic's not going to be there for the Swiss game. And then you got to count if we do make both. If we make the finals of Nations League, we're looking at 4 games. Weah's definitely going to find some playing time in there.
Yeah. He'll get like the last 20 minutes.
He may get a start against Costa Rica if we play all 4 games.
Then yeah. Well, we better cross that road or that bridge, excuse me, when we get to it. Okay, until the next time on the Straight Red Card, we will see you next time. And toodaloo, I don't know.